In this first video on slopes, I'm going to show you how to split a vertical force, in this case weight, into components. If you haven't yet watched my introduction on this topic, just click the link below for components of forces at an angle introduction before watching this video. Or for a wider understanding of the topic, select the link for the playlist which includes forces on ladders. If you'd like to create your own notes, you can click the template link down below to print these diagrams, then pause the video while you add your notes. There are a few practical rules with slope questions. 1. Draw a diagram that's big enough. I've seen many diagrams like this in the past, mainly because students want to save paper. Caring for the environment's all very well and a good cause, but if the diagram is unreadable, it's pretty useless unless you carry around a magnifying glass, and I prefer not to. Second, draw the object far enough up the slope. So here the student's drawn a nice big slope, but they've placed the object so far down that again, the triangle is really small and virtually unreadable. Usually around here is good, because then you leave a little room for forces up at the top. The third thing is that generally, unless it's a question on turning forces, the object will be modelled as a particle, which basically means that all of the forces acting on the object act through one point. So if it helps, you can draw the object as a small circle like this. To answer a typical question, we need to apply Newton's second law. Force equals mass times acceleration. And we form two such equations by considering the directions parallel to and perpendicular to the slope. The first force I'm going to look at is the force of weight, mass times gravity. This acts vertically downwards at an angle to the slope. But for our question, we need to form equations with the components parallel and perpendicular to the slope. I'm going to use a dashed line to represent the components so they're not mixed up with the actual force itself. The first thing to do is to place your ruler at a 90-degree angle to the slope and slide it into position so that the force is the hypotenuse of this right angle triangle, and the two forces parallel and perpendicular have a right angle between them. Now it's really important that the right angle is between those and does not touch the force. If you do this incorrectly, you end up with a diagram here where the right angle touches the force. The student here has drawn correctly a line perpendicular for this component, but when we look at the component here that should be parallel, it's not parallel to the slope. So as long as you make sure that the right angle does not touch the force, you'll be fine. Now that the triangle is formed, we need to mark on the components in terms of sine and cosine of the angle between the force and the surface. However, that angle isn't given to us. Now, if I asked you to find that angle a few years ago when you first learned about angles, you would have done it immediately. But now at A-level, as is very common, when you're asked to find these very basic angles, everything just disappears from your head. So I'm just going to show you very simply, because this weight force acts vertically downwards and makes a right angle with the horizontal, then we can make a right angle triangle here, and these two add up to 90 degrees, so this one must be 60 degrees. So I'm going to mark on 60 degrees here. And now I just need to mark on the components in terms of sine and cosine. So the side opposite will be in terms of sine. So we have the force, mg, sine of the angle, 60, and the component next to or adjacent to the angle will be mg cos 60. Now you could always write these in terms of this angle over here. This is a right angle triangle. So these two angles must add up to 90 degrees. So this is actually the same angle as the slope. Now there's no point in doing that here, but sometimes we're given a question where the angle of the slope is not given, so here it's in terms of theta. And if we want to use the angle that's between the slope and the force, then we end up with 90 minus theta. Now it's fine to have that in your calculations, but some people find that a little bit more tricky to deal with, and it takes a little bit more time, which you can't afford when you're in an exam particularly. So it might be easier in this case, as these two angles add up to 90 and this one is the same as this one here, to mark this one as theta, and then this time this side is opposite the angle, so this is mg, the force, sine of theta, and this side is next to, adjacent to the angle, mg cos theta. In my next video, I'll show you how to break a horizontal force into components.